So I'm just going to read through two of these practices here, and then I'll take some questions, seeing as the had the interruption. So chapter 5 is the first of the practices, being aware of awareness. I'm just going to read this through, and then I'll just discuss it a little bit. So at every moment we are aware, we can begin to see that there is always awareness present. So right now, you're aware of what I'm saying, you're aware of your thoughts, you're aware of something, maybe trying to understand what is being said. Something within us is always seeing. We've been trained to focus our attention totally on what we are seeing, what we're aware of, and not at all on the awareness itself. All day throughout the waking hours, we are aware of thoughts, emotions, social interaction, our body, events in the world, and on it goes. But there is a background of awareness that is always noticing whatever is going on within it. It's always noticing what is going on in our inner world of thoughts, feelings, and sensations in the body. So right now, immediately, if you had a pain in your body, you'd immediately be aware of it. If a thought pops up, you'd immediately be aware of that thought as well. So something is just kind of always watching, that we've perhaps taken for granted a little bit because of its constant presence. So awareness is not a far off place that you have to reach. On the contrary, it's so common and normal to you that you don't even notice it. Every time you say, my mind is so busy, then you're noticing what your mind is doing, but putting no attention on that which notices. Practice is simply to take your attention away from what you are aware of, such as thoughts and experiences, and to put attention on the awareness itself. Awareness is not a feeling and does not feel any particular way. It's just aware. Every time you say, I know, it's this same awareness recording all that happens in front of it, but you call it me. It's simply that aware intelligence that seems to wake up every morning and watches all that occurs each day until the time comes for sleep. It's not special, and it will not feel special at first, because it just is. Awareness is just the ordinary awareness that you are using right now to read this. If somebody came in the room and began to talk to you, then you would effortlessly be aware of that person and what they were saying. You cannot switch off awareness. So I'm going to read as well the practice of the next one is listening to the silence. Again, just to remember, these are all the same ways of accessing same thing. In the background, there is a constant silence that most of us do not hear because we're so focused on the noise of thought, emotion, and verbal chatter. Even when we are silent, it is usually only because we are being entertained by the television, radio, social media, or any other number of things. So in this practice, we begin to tune into the silence that is our being. Being is just silently being, not doing. It can help us to realize that we can only hear and recognize sound, speech, and other noises because it appears against a constant background of silence. We can only recognize that something has appeared when it appears against a background of something continuous. So how do we hear our thoughts? Mustn't you already be utterly silent to hear those thoughts? We get a sense of this when a car or a house alarm has been sounding for some time and finally stops, or when a pneumatic drill goes off by our house, or we're passed by an emergency ambulance with its sirens blazing. In the sudden absence of the loud noise, you can feel a tangible sense of silence, which can even seem quite loud. Silence doesn't listen in an active way. It's not interested in particular in a personal way in what it hears. We could say that it is openly and lovingly listening to whatever arises in it. It has no opinion about any sound that it hears, It hears opinionated thoughts about what it is hearing too. So I'm going to open up for questions in a minute. I'm just going to read one more chapter. If you want to ask a question about this or anything in particular, if you click on, just while I'm reading this last, on participants at the bottom of your screen, and scroll down to the bottom, there'll be an option to raise your hand, and it'll show me who wants to ask a question. So I'm just going to read one more section before I do that. If you want to raise your hand now, please don't wave at me on the screen because I can't see everyone at the moment, so I won't be able to see you. So resting in the stillness. This is the last one I'm going to read. I'll read some more of these next week, really to just describe all these ways that you can access the self, the noumenon. So resting in the stillness is chapter 7. When we pay attention to what we are, we can notice that our essential nature itself is stillness. At first, this seems to be covered up by the movement that arises out of this stillness. Movements of thought, emotions, perceptions, and sensations in our body can seem to be like waves on the surface of the ocean of our being. We must begin to pay more attention to that within us that can notice the movement or constantly changing content of the mind. So literally to see a thought move, appears, it moves across your awareness, disappears. You must be standing in a still place, as stillness itself. Just as if you were to stand in front of a road, you can only watch the cars that go past and tell me how many cars have gone because you were standing in the same place. It's only that which is constant can recognize the coming and going. Something within you is just being, not being anything in particular and not seeking anything. It's not trying to control, to accept, to transcend or let go of anything. It's not trying to become anything other than it already is. We can get a taste of this stillness when we see that we are called a human being. The human part is something that we are very aware of and know well. It's time to get in touch with the being that simply is. So the human part is constantly changing. Our thoughts are, it's constantly in motion, our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences, even our body, our world, all of it is constantly moving. But it is noticed by something which is inherently still. You can easily miss this stillness because it's not shouting for attention or trying to achieve anything. We must become more interested in what is unchanging within us. All things come and go, but what we truly are is unchanging and totally still. When we begin to tune in to this stillness that we are, it can feel as if a soft, relaxing field of energy is descending upon the body. But it is really that we are beginning to notice the stillness that has always been, but has been overlooked until now. Okay, so questions. James, do you want to ask a question? You have to unmute yourself. Everyone does that, don't worry. There we go. Yep, I can hear you now.
Hi, Helen. Thanks.
Hi.
Thanks for these talks as well in this time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. I know I've read that before. It's a very good reminder. It's really clear, and I've forgotten it. Awareness, watching the awareness in one's life, in my life, when say certain triggers will trigger me. Say one trigger might be, oh, I don't have a local friend base as strong as I'd like now that I'm back where I'm living now. Whereas I might have to go, they might be a phone call away or a good drive away. And sometimes that triggers me. I feel it's a weakness or something. I judge myself for that. So then I go into that, then a contraction comes in my body and I become very small, or I feel that sort of anxiety for that period.
Mm-hmm.
So then I lose, then I forget very quickly. Mm.
It's a very common experience, that, to feel kind of triggered by something. Is it something that's happening regularly, or?
It happens. It does happen on occasion. Yeah, well, every more regular than I'd like. Every whatever within a month or whatever or something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
might feel that lack. So it's yeah, it's I guess, yeah, and you can't. Not everyone's going to be wanting to. If the friends I have, I can talk to a certain degree about this. So that's which is good. So it's not easy to get that back in the country where I am now. So you can only talk about um, everything else for so long. If that's 100% of the conversation, then
Yeah.
it's that sort of lacks a little bit of connection. I love chit chatting about ordinary daily stuff as well, but if that's 100% of the connection with that person, then um, that's not 100% honest for me. I can't be. I'm not being fully honest about what passions I have in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that creates a bit of a thing. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, yeah. It's very common stage in my own awakening where I just didn't want to be around people that were sort of not so much interested in the truth of the awakening. Um,
I just moved this.
yeah.
Somebody's coming in there. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. There's naturally a stage where we're sort of absorbed in our own awakening to a certain degree, and it was the same for me as well, uh, where we're looking for deeper connections, I think, in our human experience. Um, and we can feel quite isolated if we can't get those in our everyday surroundings. The way that I sort of overcame this was to really realize that I was looking for this connection with my own real self. That even if I had a room full of people here that were as interested in awakening as I was, I might still be feeling um, disconnected or lacking in something if I hadn't found that source within my own self to an extent where it was undisturbable. You know, so naturally we do want to get to a point where we not feel like that self all the time. So that we can recognize that self all the time. We don't feel that we need anything at all from our external environment. Doesn't mean we're negating our external environment, our relationships, but we can enjoy them from a place of not needing anything, not needing connection, not even needing intimacy, approval, recognition, all the things that most human beings want, that I wanted before I started this. If I'm coming from that place of fullness already, then my interactions in my world are going to be different anyway, because I'll actually be able to just be present with whoever I'm sitting with without an agenda happening inside what I need out of that interaction.
Yeah.
You might be surrounded by people that are interested in truth. Um, Especially right now, we may feel isolated, but you can always access that source of truth inside your real being that can never leave you, and it's always dependable. That's really what that turning inside is to kind of see how I've been interacting in my life has been okay for a while, but now it's not satisfying me anymore. It's not nourishing me 100%. It's not wrong at all to have friends and all of that, but it's not going to be 100% satisfactory, is it, anymore?
Sorry, I just lost you there for a second. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, that could
Can you
have
hear
been
me
me.
okay? Yeah.
Yes, it could have been my connection there for a second. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
so
getting a
so it's
message
not
saying,
nourishing.
so the real nourishing we're looking for is that source inside.
Hmm.
thing that we're all really looking for.
So I'm probably still putting a need on those people that I need a certain connection here, whereas I need to, it's to come back to here first and carry on with connecting at the same time.
Yeah, and you know, what is my life? What does my life look like when I'm experiencing it from not needing anything from anyone? Being able to enjoy the company of others, being able to enjoy relationships and experiences, and doing all the things I might have done before. What is it like? You know, the self, the Numenon is wanting to experience what it's like to come from a place of fullness now. You know, it's for a while it's tried to be a human being only, and all that that involves, and now it wants to kind of recognize itself as you, and to interact in life in a different way completely, a place of already being complete and having more than enough to give: time, energy, patience, compassion. You know, it's a different way of orienting your life, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, the other one is a feeling a habit of having to turn up as a person for those people as well, because they expect here's James. They expect something. They expect James to turn up and not look like he's not spaced out, but like where's James? You know, there's that maybe habitual fear of James has to turn up, and that creates the same thing. I'm not as genuine then. Maybe I'm not. I'm turning on a personality, and that's what I've traditionally done. I've been very good at it, but it'd be more authentic and So what you're saying makes sense. It's not to fear that; it's just to keep dropping into that and interacting. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
and there's no greater joy as a human being than being authentic. You know, not ever having to be who I've learned to be in order to try to get the approval I want from this being, or the acceptance from this, you know, or to get out of this experience what I thought I needed. Like, who am I authentically when I don't try to do any of that? You know, and amazingly, you find that people just seem to like being around you then anyway, want to be with you, because you're perhaps one of the only human beings they'll ever come across that's not um, silently asking for something from them all the time. You know, they're radiating more than enoughness, fullness from inside out. And that's how it will be shifting for you right now to sort of this changeover is happening.
Beautiful, yeah. Yeah, I know what
Herbs
you
is
mean.
probably where you're still looking for something and haven't recognized it. You know, be feeling peaceful, and then you come across this other person or situation, and something has just switched back to an old way of, this is a person I would look for approval from or recognition, or I need them to accept me, or so I go back into acting. You know, we're all Olympic um, seekers and actors, aren't we? We've all learned all these different roles, who I need to be in this situation.
True. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
That's a good point. Yeah.
very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I need you to mute yourself again. Thank you. Uh, Bidea? Do you want me to unmute, or are you all right? Oh, you got it. There you go. Hello.
Oops. Can you fix?
We can see you. We can hear you. Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry. I'm the world's worst with technology, so I'm kind of. I forgot to even plug the laptop in. So.
So it's just the need to understand, or the wanting to understand. Is that sense of ego?
Yeah. Eventually, it becomes a choice between to understand what I am and actually being it. You know, but really, if I understand your question correctly, what we're identifying with. I can identify as being the one that has to try to understand, and I'll never feel like I quite get there. Or I can be that being in which the understanding is happening effortlessly, unfolding in front of. Yeah, so that's not going to disturb me. That rather than whatever I feel I need is going to leave me feeling incomplete, even if that is understanding about myself or the world or whatever that is in particular.
Yeah, because the experiences, no matter how beautiful or the depth of them, is that, like in my email and the chat, is wanting to understand or share what happened to get an understanding of why that happened. So the one that wants to understand that or know it really is, that's just the self or the ego. What I'm saying is, it's obviously not necessary to, maybe I just need to drop it when it arises and just stay as that self, or in that. Yeah, I mean, I know that place very, very well. There's something, must identify with it to want to understand it.
Yeah.
So
It's natural. The ego is always looking at difference. Ego is that which perceives difference. So that the way of just being and the way of just trying to understand as different. It can't see that the understanding and the one that wants to understand is arising inside, the noumenon itself, the self. So it's trying to, most of us are trying to come from this perspective where we're still identifying as ego. Which one is it? Understanding or being? That question is the essence of the ego. Which one is right? I think that this one is right and that one is the old way. But instead, the noumenon is that in which both is just happening effortlessly. So if we kind of identify as that which isn't going to choose right or wrong, wanted or not wanted, and just recognizing that effortless space as much as we've recognized it, then if something needs to be understood, a thought will arise and some epiphany or realization will come effortlessly. If you really notice that the essence of our suffering is really trying to decide which one is right. I thought I was an ego, realized the self, and then that one should go away. That one's the wrong one. This is the right one. It's only ego saying that. The self would never say where anything should leave. It just can't do that, can it?
So it's okay to want to understand. If it wants to understand, let it understand, and it'll pass anyway, or fall into the heart.
Yeah, it's natural. You are the noumenon, but you also have a human body and an intellect. So it's natural that will want to understand well. Only time we suffer is when we try to choose which one is right. Which way of being. I thought it was only this way, but now I've found this other effortless way, which seems much nicer. But if we're not making any of it wrong or trying to get rid of anything, which is why the book is called Dissolving the Ego, because we're not trying to actively push anything away. All that dissolves really is the mechanism that's trying to choose. Which is it, form or formless? Which is it for ego? Which is it of trying to understand or effortlessly being? It's always looking at two options and trying to pick one. And something's just kind of standing back and going, both are just completely fine. And I'm only suffering because I'm trying to pick a side. You are all of that. So if I'm trying to, I am all of that. So if I'm trying to reject any part of it at all, it's like trying to pull my own arm off and wondering why it hurts, Not going to work so well. So only the ego would try to get rid of something. It doesn't make ego wrong. It's just the way it works. So just by understanding that's how ego is, it looks at two options. It's sure that they are different, but as the self, you can see that they're not. So here is form or formless, as understanding or as effortless being. And I don't need to discern in the end which one is right or wrong. It's this primitive mechanism, ego, that's running, always trying to run towards pleasure and away from pain. So it's had an experience of the self, and it goes, well, this is wonderful. I want to live here all the time. But then everything else is wrong and should stop or go away. But you have a body and a wonderful human brain, and that's part of the joy of appearing in that form. You can discern form and formless seems to be different, but then as your real self, there's no need to make that choice.
So the phenomena, or what's familiar in the everyday life, is familiar, and the being in that space of silence is, like you said before, can become addictive, and it's beautiful, and then with the phenomena that happen out of that isn't an everyday phenomena. So it's like, wow, like it's interesting. There's been so many phenomena that are unusual to everyday experiences. So what is it that wants to know, or just to know that what is it, what's happening? I remember one time when I was typing, and I was really somehow just in this space, and remember being aware, and my arm, half of my arm wasn't there, and the attention went to the other arm and it was there, but this one wasn't, and something sort of jolted, and then it appeared again. So to me, I've never known what that was, never investigated it, but it's just left as, well, that's not normal everyday happening. So I get fascinated in wanting to understand what's not phenomenal. Well,
it's natural, isn't it, when attention first notices that which is not a phenomenon, that it would want to go there all the time, and that's natural, and that'll happen. The trap that most of us fall into then is to say, well, noticing, only my old way of noticing is wrong and should stop. I'm thinking about myself, I should stop thinking about awakening. All of that can just happen inside you. There'll still be someone on a journey seemingly, but it's just happening inside you rather than to you, that journey. You're just watching effortlessly as well.
So eventually they're probably, no more important than each other. They'll be just seen, and,
Yeah, when you watch the rain falling or you hear a car driving past, there's no need to give any specific attention to that. And it becomes the same with thinkingness, it's just thinkingness happening. And as it comes to not mean anything special or different than any other phenomena appearing inside you, it gradually subsides, because it's not been given that meaning that most of us as seekers give to it, which is it should stop, it's wrong, it should go away now, recognize it isn't thinking, and this up here should stop. But when we stop pushing against it, it'll naturally begin to slow down and stop, which we often notice in satsang. It's just something quiet already. But by identifying as that which isn't pushing or pulling against anything, recognizing what you are, and there's nothing sustaining the thought stream anymore. It's actually our insistence that it should stop that maintains the thought stream. And then, sort of intelligent thoughts can arise that it doesn't, thought like it doesn't matter if I'm thinking or not, that's happening inside me. And it's no different than any other phenomena, no different than any other object at all, just appearing. And then thoughts will be seen to be completely empty also. They're also empty of any substance thoughts, just like everything is. It's all the formless awareness appearing as a thought or a experience or a person or whatever it's appearing as. There's less and less ability to push against anything. And when it finally doesn't matter, when it's finally just a little TV playing in the corner of the room, you can either pay attention to it or not, it doesn't matter. Then it'll just go quiet on its own, but not because you've somehow made it happen. But it's still, then there'll still always be this ability to discern and have an epiphany, about something. It'll just happen inside you as you're seeing more and more. It's happening by itself, as it always was. Really, we just believe this thought that I'm doing it, I'm realizing the self, I'm coming to understand, I'm transcending this thing.
Which is that sense of ego.
Yeah, exactly. So the most kind of embarrassing thing I ever realized that all this awakening journey will just go on in front of me if I just let it happen effortlessly, rather than all the hard work, best seeker ever, then it's just going to happen anyway and much more easily than I thought it would before, so that becomes clearer, and there's nothing in you then that can push against anything. It's all just allowed to happen inside you to rise when it needs to.
I look forward to reading the book and the course tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow, Craig. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, honey? Oh, yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave it there for today. This will have to be uploaded in 2 parts to YouTube, I think, so with some significant editing, which I'm learning to do. So, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope it's been helpful and useful. And for those doing the course, I'll see you tomorrow night. For everyone else, Satsang is Thursday, 7 p.m. as always, UK time. Namaste.